Hey, how's it going? It's Ollie here. Very warm welcome to another episode of Niche Spotlight. So if you haven't seen this show before, what I do is look at a niche on Amazon and we analyze it and we break down and decide, is this niche going to be fit to launch a product in, or should we avoid it at all costs? So I've got an interesting one for you today, and it is mixing bowls set. Okay, as ever, always random. You never know what you're going to end up selling on this platform. Honestly, every time I see clients launch products, or I launch a product on Amazon, you never would have thought this is what's going to be making you money. But this niche certainly has potential. It also has some flaws. So let's analyze it and come up with a rating and decide whether you should look into it or not. So as always, I just want to give you a quick reminder of how we analyze niches. What is it we're looking for when we're analyzing a niche? Well, it's always going back to the smash hit products radar. Okay, so when you're looking at a niche, you can just draw out this exact same thing. Okay, these four, points on each side of the radar. And the four elements we need to think about. So number one is high demand. Do mixing bowls have high demand, right? So high demand means lots of people are buying the product. If people are buying the product, spending lots of money on it, is evidence that people want to buy it, right? There is a chance that a product might have high demand and not many people are buying it. The way that would happen is if there just isn't something in the marketplace the customers want yet, right? The thing isn't available yet. For example, the product hasn't been invented yet, like jetpacks, for example. There's probably a high demand for them, but there aren't any, commercially viable ones available as far as I'm aware of that are affordable. So, you could, in theory, invent a product that isn't being sold at all and sell it, and it could go well. But it's always a gamble, right? Before you do anything like that, you have to test very, very carefully, rigorously. It's much easier to just go where the money already is and sell in a high demand niche. Okay. Second element is low competition. So we want evidence of people buying the products. We want sellers selling the products, but we don't want so many sellers selling the products that there's no way for us to compete. Okay, we want the competition to be low. Also, we want it to be low hassle. Okay, we don't want it to be a nightmare to import, a nightmare to sell. We want it to be easy, smooth, and just simple. The whole process from sourcing it from China, importing it to whatever country you sell it in, shipping it to the customer, and the customer using it. All these things should be easy, and it'll give you much less hassle as you're running the business. And also, we want there to be a gap in the marketplace. In other words, an opportunity for us to add value, to do something different with our product, so customers have a reason to buy our product over all the other mixing bowls in the niche. So let's go through each one of these elements and figure out if the niche is good or not. So first of all, let's look at demand. So the way I like to do this always is by using Jungle Scout. You can actually use many other pieces of software for this, by the way. Anything that gives you the revenue in a niche is fine, but I've always used Jungle Scout, so that's what I'm going to be demonstrating on. By the way, if you want to, there's a link in the description for a discount on Jungle Scout. I've actually partnered with them, so if you do want to get all the features of the software and save some money, then you can certainly do that. But let's have a look, right? Let's have a look at the revenue in the niche. So the number one seller is doing £18,000 per month in sales. Okay. So look, people are buying these. Clearly, if they had a 30% profit margin, they'd be doing maybe 6k a month profit with this product. Right? Not bad, not too shabby for one product. Second best seller is also doing 18k. Okay, third best seller is doing 14k. Fourth best seller's doing 13k. Fifth best seller's doing 11k. And, you know, we want at least 3 people doing £3,000 per month in revenue. Okay, that's usually what I look for. That's like the minimum. The more the better. In this niche, we've got tons of people doing more than £3,000 a month in revenue. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 sellers doing at least a 3k per month in revenue. And if we assume a 33% profit margin, then there's 19 sellers doing £1,000 a month profit. So what this means is if you can get your product on page 1, you've got a very good chance of doing £1,000 per month in profit, which is what we want from all the products we launch on our account, ideally, right? You know, on average, about £1,000 a month profit. So the demand's there. So I would say, yes, there's certainly high demand in this niche. People are buying mixing bowls, clearly. So what about competition? Well, the way we analyze competition, as always, is with the reviews. Okay, the reviews. That's the first thing we look at. As you can see, I've sorted by reviews with Jungle Scout. If you don't have Jungle Scout, you can just scroll down the page and look at the reviews on the listings. It's the same thing. Jungle Scout makes it a little bit more simple though to see them, you know, sorted by high to low. And we want ideally less than 5 sellers with more than 500 reviews. Okay, now this number is kind of a rough guess. Like, you know, it's not exactly black and white reviews. It's not really it doesn't say the whole picture, but if there's loads of sellers with lots and lots and lots of reviews, then if you're a customer and you go into this marketplace, I mean, which product would you be more likely to buy? You know, you've got this one here. It's got 2,500 reviews and an average rating of 5. Okay, and if we scroll down to, for example, this product that's got 50 ratings and an average review of 4, I mean, which one are you going to be more likely to buy? Even if we compare it to this, right? So let's say we take this product here that's got 2,400 reviews, average rating of 5, and then we take, for example, let's have a look, find a good example. This product with 12 reviews and an average rating of 5. They're both 5-star ratings, right? But the one with 2,500 reviews, we believe the 5-star rating a little bit more. In fact, a lot more. Because 2,500 people have said, yes, this is worth 5 stars. So now we're looking at this product and going, it's definitely good quality. Right? It's an established product in the marketplace. So as a new seller selling in this niche, it means it's going to be a little bit tricky to compete with. Now, it's doable. You certainly can compete with sellers who have got lots of reviews, but you have to do something different. You have to differentiate. You have to do something better than them in some way. You have to give the customer another viable option. And really, they will be taking a slight leap of faith buying your product that has, 3 reviews or whatever in the beginning over the one that has 2,500. You have to do something quite good to get the sale. So we want less than 5 sellers with more than 500 reviews. Okay, in fact, the less the better. In this niche, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sellers with more than 500 reviews. So is this niche low competition? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's medium, possibly high competition. Okay, medium, possibly high. Now, obviously, I chose this niche and I knew exactly the potential before recording this video. So why did I decide to pick a niche that had a problem like this? rather than giving you a niche that was perfect. Well, I wanted the chance to explain why we avoid these kind of niches, right? So reviews is the first thing. Okay, reviews is the first thing. There's lots of established sellers here with high numbers of reviews. Is there another thing you can spot with some of the competition here in this niche that would make it even worse to compete in this niche as a new seller? Is there something else that you've spotted? Let me sort by revenue so I can show you what I mean. Have you heard of the brand Pyrex, for example? Chances are you probably have, right? Have you heard of the brand Joseph? Chances are you probably have. Where was the other one? I believe Oxo are here. Have you heard of the brand Oxo? I believe you probably have. So the point is, not only is there very high numbers of reviews in this niche, but also there's lots of named brands. Now, having a high number of reviews makes you kind of an obvious choice in a niche, right? If the customer's looking for a good quality product and they see one that's been made by a brand they trust, very likely they're going to go with that brand, right? Very likely. So this makes it very tricky to compete. You know, if there's one brand in the niche, right, then you might be able to compete because you might be able to do something so different that the customer chooses you anyway. They just think, well, it's not branded, but this product does this one special thing, therefore I'll give them a go. Right? If you can offer something so great and so relevant to them, that you can actually beat the brand. That can happen sometimes. But in this niche, there's so many brands you'd be competing with, it just seems very unlikely you'd be able to do that. Now, the only thing that makes me believe that you still can possibly compete is the fact that this brand, Fab4Home, has actually done just that. In fact, they're offering what looks like a set of 3 mixing bowls, and they're doing very, very well, even though I've never heard of Fab4Home, and I would assume they are a private label seller, an individual seller selling on Amazon rather than a Pyrex or a Joseph. So whenever this happens, it's good to have a look and ask yourself, what have they done to be able to sell their product alongside some of these big brands and actually do very well in the niche? Right? This could actually be a lesson in how to add value to the marketplace, right? So they must have done something special if their product's performing well. In fact, they've even got Amazon's choice for mixing bowl, right? So, you know, that means they've offered a very good quality product and it sells well, right? So maybe let's have a look. So if we look at, for example, some of the best sellers and some of the name brand products, you've got Pyrex here offering what looks like a glass bowl with a plastic lid, right? I believe that's what they're offering. Okay, cool. So they've got a set of 3 and it's like a cook and store mixing bowl set. It's a good idea, right? It's a bowl, you can mix in it and then you can put a lid on and keep your salad or whatever in the fridge. Pretty useful, right? I think people would use that. Let's have a look at what else we got. We've got the Joseph & Joseph 9 Nest Plus nesting set. Okay, so if the picture will load, hopefully it will in a second. There we go. It is a nesting system, right? So not only do you have the mixing bowls, but they store very easily. So the value Joseph & Joseph added to the niche is in the storage. And not only do they have the mixing bowls, it looks like they also have measuring spoons in the set as well. So actually, and it also seems to come with some kind of colander as well and a sieve, right? So they've done something very clever here because they've designed something that looks great, stores very well, and is multifunctional. So that's how they've added value to the niche. Plus they've added value by just being Joseph & Joseph, right? And this has enabled them to be able to charge a lot more, £43.45, and still sell a lot of their products. Okay, so this is, you know, that's how you do it if you want to add value to the niche. But Fab for Home is still performing very well. So what have they done differently compared to these other brands? Well, there's one thing that I notice instantly, and that's that their bowls are stainless steel. Okay, so Pyrex is glass, Joseph & Joseph is plastic, and Fab for Home have steel mixing bowls. Also, it looks like they've got plastic bottoms as well. Silicone bases in different colors. So maybe that particular design was the thing that separated them, right? I think the idea is for them to be non-slip. Okay, so if you've got a glass bowl or a plastic bowl or a metal bowl, if you're mixing, especially with like a hand mixer or, you know, holding it and mixing dough or whatever, it's going to be sliding all over the place. So they've solved that problem and added value to the niche by adding the non-slip silicone base. Now, I don't know how they did their research. Maybe they just figured out that this is a very useful thing to offer. Maybe they looked at some of the reviews for some of the other mixing bowls and realized that customers were not satisfied with the fact that the bowl kept moving around everywhere. Maybe it's just that the supplier said, we've got these stainless steel bowls with silicone bases. Would you like to try and sell them? And they were like, yeah, right? We don't know what they did. But if you want to do something similar in a niche, then it's the reviews where you're going to find out these things, right? And if loads of people kept saying these Joseph & Joseph bowls and the Pyrex set kept sliding around, then, you know, this would be a very clear way to fill that gap in the marketplace, and they're obviously doing a very, very good job of it. Okay. So, with the competition, you know, in summary, there's not too much room left to compete in this niche. And what you'll find with niches like this is the gaps in the marketplace. Oh, look, there's another one with silicone bases. You know, the gaps in the marketplaces are filled. You know, a lot of the problems are solved. And there's a few things that can happen if you do try and enter into one of these niches. You know, I was actually speaking to someone the other day who spent 18 grand on a launch in America in a competitive niche. And they said all the launch methods just didn't work. And they were worried that promotions didn't work anymore. And it just wasn't working. And they showed me the niche and I had a look and I said, look, it's not the launch strategy that's the problem here. It's the niche, right? You know, when you're selling in a competitive niche, the PPC is going to be more expensive, right? You're probably going to have to charge less to stand out. The gaps are going to be filled. And you're just going to have a much, much harder time. It's so much easier if you can find a niche with less sellers who are established. Okay, so large numbers of reviews, less of them, and also less brands. Ideally, no brands, right? Or one should be okay. Okay, this niche is probably going to be difficult to compete in unless you can come up with something that's better than the Joseph & Joseph 9 bowl nesting set, or something that's better than the Pyrex cook and store mixing bowl set, or the silicone base stainless steel bowls. If you can come up with something better than those things, then you could possibly compete, but it will be tough. And I'll probably assume that either Pyrex or Joseph & Joseph will probably copy you at some point as well, and just rip off your product. And that could be an issue too. So it's difficult. Anyway, let's have a look at the other areas in this niche and see if it meets that criteria. So what about low hassle? Is this product low hassle? Well, best way to examine that is to look at the technical details or the product information on one of the competitors' listings. And we want to look at the size and the weight. Okay, so the weight is 880 grams. So that is actually okay. Like under a kilogram is what we're aiming for, mainly so air freight can be cheap and doable, right? If something's too heavy, then air freight's not really doable. And you have to do sea freight, which can be very annoying, especially when you're doing a test batch. And then the size, we want it to fit in a shoebox. Now, It might have to be quite a big shoebox, but this could probably fit, right? And maybe it's a little bit big and wide. And maybe if you did have quite a big set, maybe if you did a set of 6, you might be stretching to the oversize territory a little bit, so getting slightly more postage fees per sale. But because the price point's quite healthy, you can charge £25 in this niche, £30 should be okay. Now, in that price range, you can sell oversized products, and usually, as long as your marketing costs aren't too high, then you'll make a profit. So in terms of low hassle, I'd say it's green. I'd say it's okay. It's just within, let me get my highlighter out. It's just within the range, right? I mean, it's not ideal. It's not very small, very light, but it's still quite small, quite light, and it's intuitive. They're bowls. We don't need a massive, thick instruction manual. It's not an electronic. It's not going to break in shipping. It's very simple, very intuitive, so it should be okay. Let's have a look at gap in the marketplace. Now, I've already hinted this and already talked about it a little bit, because I do believe the gaps in the marketplace will have all been filled. Mostly. I mean, there's always gaps. There's always room you can improve on something, but it's usually not a question of can it be improved. It's a question of can you improve it profitably. Like if we take the smartphone niche, for example, right? Smartphones. Would you enter into the smartphone market? Not unless you're Samsung or Apple, right? And you've got billions. Why is that? Well, it's not because there's no gaps in the market to fill with smartphones, right? There's still things that can be improved. My iPhone, for example, lasts, I don't know, maybe an average of 5-6 hours with the battery with kind of normal use. That's a massive pain. If I'm out and about, I have to have a power bank with me. So there are gaps. Like a gap in the market with a smartphone is a smartphone that actually has a decent battery, maybe lasts for 5 days, like my old terrible mobile phone that I have, whatever it is, a Nokia 3110 that I have. It's like this big. That thing will last for a week. If we had a smartphone that could last for a week, then it would sell like crazy. The only issue is it would cost literally hundreds of millions to develop the technology to make that possible. Right? So there's always gaps in the market. The question is, can you fill them and make profit, and is it practical? So let's have a look at some of these mixing bowls and see if we can get the answers to those questions. So what's wrong with the Fab 4 Home bowls? Well, look, they're rated very, very well. So I would assume the answer is not much. People are happy with these bowls, right? They're one of the highest rated products in the niche. But still, there will still be issues. So let's see if we can see anything. So this person says used dirty bowls received. So that's unfortunate, right? That's a customer service issue though. Obviously there was an issue with the fulfillment. Maybe they got a product that was used, returned, and then Amazon stocked it properly and then sent it back out to a customer. So ignore the reviews like that. Best reviews to look at are usually the 4-star and the 3-star for these reviews, because 1-star reviews, people are just usually angry, and quite often it's their own fault. Whatever it was, it's quite often they didn't read the description or the review's just irrelevant. So as you can see, 2 really unhelpful reviews here for the purposes of research. Really like these, 4-star. I don't know why they didn't give a 5-star, quite frankly. This person says great for cooking with children. Cool. Again, don't know why they didn't give a 5-star. See if we can get any other helpful tips here. This person says cheap rubbish, full of imperfections in the steel and small dents. So again, not really all that helpful. I'd assume he received maybe a bowl that had been thrown around in the warehouse, maybe, or by the postman. Probably not something that's going to help us with our research. Let's see. Is anyone going to criticize? In fact, there's one thing you can do when you're looking at reviews which can be really helpful. type in some keywords that would hint towards things that could be improved. One of the best keywords is wish. If a customer says, oh, I just wish they were a bit bigger, bingo, we found something we can improve on. Let's have a look. Wish they were sold separately as I would like to buy another large one. So you could, in theory, sell a large bowl on a listing, a medium bowl on a listing, and a small bowl on a listing. Could test that, see if you get any traction with it. You never know. That could get you some sales where the other guys fall down. Now, it'd be very easy for them to just copy you, so maybe it's not the biggest gap in the marketplace, but could be something to test. Maybe this person says, wish I'd found them sooner, so not exactly what we were looking for. See if I can spell the word disappointed. Probably will fail miserably. I think it's 1S, 2 Ps. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Search. Okay, no one's put disappointed. What else? Hate. That's always a good word. Okay, these bowls replace my previous plastic mixing bowls as they're so old and I hate plastic bowls. Okay, again, not too useful. Let's type in the word quality. And when you're doing this, just think of the words you would type if you were going to write a bad review. Or not a bad, but maybe a slightly critical review. Like, what words would you put into it? Quality is one of them. You'd probably say, I didn't like the quality. Obviously, it can go for good quality as well. But it's just something to look. Let's have a look. Right, so you see my point. It's not looking very good. It looks like this product is pretty much nearly perfect. Let's have a look at the Pyrex Bowls. Slightly less high rating on these, 4.7 out of 5, but still, you know, they're pretty much perfect. Let's have a look. Basic bowls I wouldn't expect a lot from. Purchased these over 6 months ago, use them fortnightly, store leftovers in. Lids aren't airtight. Okay, so you have one slight gripe there. Okay, that's interesting. Bottom of the bowl blew out when they were rinsing it. Okay, so maybe the glass isn't quite as strong. Let's have a look. And then the seller didn't allow for a refund. Again, that could be maybe something you could compete with and offer a lifetime guarantee and a refund. Not airtight. Without lids, they're great. So it seems like the lids aren't quite as good as advertised. Okay, so there is maybe something we can improve on this particular design. But remember, you've got to get the customer to choose your product over Pyrex, and Pyrex have been going for years. Like, by the way, if you don't know brands and you're not sure if a brand is big or not, just Google them. Just type them into Google, and the imprint they have on Google will tell you everything. Okay, so the first thing is if you see the little information knowledge tab here for the brand. Okay, I think this is what this is called. Knowledge tab or knowledge section or whatever. If they have one of these, the chances are they're a big brand. Okay, now you can see already introduced in 1915. Okay, so they've been going for a long time. Another thing is there links with their products being sold on big retail stores. So we've got them being sold on Groupon, Amazon, doesn't really count, anyone can sell on Amazon, Wilko, which is a well-known retailer in the UK. Let's have a look. Nisbets, Calco, okay. And, you know, they've just got loads of links. They've got their website here. They've got a Wikipedia page. This stuff all happens when you're looking at a big brand. See if I can see on shopping if there's any others here. It's interesting. I must have my VPN on because they're all coming up with British links rather than Swedish. Cool. All right then. Let's compare that to Fab for Home. Typing it on Google. Fab for Home. As you can see, no knowledge tab on the right. and it seems like they only really sell on Amazon and eBay. Okay, so this is how you tell whether you've got a big name brand or not. So in summary, not too much we can improve, not too many gaps in the marketplace, and therefore I'm going to give this an amber. I mean, we found a few things. Maybe you could offer something with better lids, but you have to beat Pyrex, and that's no easy task. So out of 10, what am I going to rate this niche? Well, there's definitely demand. The competition is very high, medium to high. It is low hassle, but there's no gap in the marketplace. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. This would be the kind of niche where if you can randomly get a super cheap job lot of mixing bowls that just so happen to be extremely good quality, you could give it a punt and sell them on Amazon, but you would definitely not go ahead and place an order of 500 units to sell a mixing bowl in this niche unless you had filled an unbelievable gap in this marketplace and spotted a new way of adding value, and if that was so good that you could beat the high levels of competition. Alright, hope this slightly less good niche has given you some helpful insights as to what not to do, which is just as important as what to do on Amazon. And I'll see you next Thursday on the next video. So if you haven't done so already, click subscribe so you get updates of when I release new videos, and we'll speak very soon.